I'm just so keen. I'm just so keen. I'm always like, do you want to go for coffee with me?
Whereas
you say nice things. Be my best friend. Hello, and welcome to this video series that I'm going to be creating alongside some new music that I'm going to be releasing soon. It's a series where I'm going to chat to different creative people about how they've experienced love and loss and healing and how that's influenced their art. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
So I'm the singer of the Golden Age TV. I do sometimes, occasionally, not so much lately, actually need to pick this up, feature as a vocalist for other people. I do a lot of art as well in my spare time.
In like the context of your life, how has loss played a part in that for you?
I suppose I'll start off with talking about my mum, because I think her influence has had a great effect on the way I've sort of dealt with situations, and it's almost put like a safety net around me. I've put a safety net around myself before I've even really lost a lot. Like it's strange. So my real dad left my mum when I was only a baby. And that really hit hard for my mum, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
It really affected her, I think, with her mental health and stuff. So I think bringing me up on her own, she faced like a lot of stuff, like her financial situation. She struggled. Bringing me up on her own, she had to become this like superwoman of being the father and the mother. So like, you know, if I was told off, she had to tell me off for something. She then had to go into another room and sort of cry herself, because she was like, I didn't want to upset my daughter, but I've got to be strict and I've got to play both roles, sort of thing. Whatnot. And I think because of that, she sort of, without intending to, made me have sort of quite a strong wall up about certain things. So even like in terms of friendships, so my mum, I think, has sort of brought me up to sort of essentially treat friendships as temporary, which sounds horrible.
No,
sounds
you
like,
were telling me about this earlier. Yeah,
sounds like I don't appreciate friends.
People.
Yeah, and
I don't like anyone.
But instead, it's like, I guess I've sort of distanced myself quite a lot in friendships. I think my mum also accidentally sort of made this thing about how, because I guess she was always a bit of a weirdo because she's creative as well. So like, I don't know, it's as if she sort of brought me up to think everything I've done is right. You know, as the weirdo, she's like, there's nothing wrong with the way you are. If they don't understand, don't talk to them. That's definitely affected what I do creatively, and that's why I think like growing up I had so many hobbies. I guess in a way, because I got so used to sort of being on my own and, you know, flitting between friendship groups and sort of flitting between situations and stuff, and whatever stress hit me, sort of thing, I guess I'd take those opportunities where stuff got a bit, you know, on top of me and overwhelming, to be on my own and have that like creative outlet, which would either be writing, drawing, or writing music or singing or whatnot. You know, it's weird. I think basically anything that's sort of been quite overwhelming for me has meant I've had more creative juices flowing. Like it's as if if I was like happy or in a state of in between, I didn't really get the same inspirations. It was as if it took something to be quite like I said, overwhelming and overbearing or sad, to give me like that creativity, to give me that inspiration. So if I was in between friendship groups, or, you know, I'd even like ended a relationship with someone.
I found when I was in a relationship for a year that I wrote my first like happy song about that, and I was like, wow, this is weird. I don't know how I feel about writing a nice song. But the whole time I was in that relationship, I was having to draw on what I'd been through before, and I was writing about stuff that happened the previous year, because that was what I was drawing on. But this whole project, this whole idea that I've had was fueled by 3 months of just feeling really lost. And I was like, I'm so bored of feeling like this. I'm so bored of feeling sorry for myself. And I was like, I have to do something. I want to create the music or the album that I would have wanted to turn to. I want to use all this energy and put it into something beautiful and some art. And I am feeling the most creative and most excited I've ever felt. And that's all been born out of one of the hardest times that I've been through. And I kind of find a correlation of creativity and stress, or being between friends, or going through something. But I'm now at the point where I'm mending and I'm healing from all of that, and I'm rebuilding my life around the changes in what my life is now. And the creativity hasn't dropped yet. Whilst this big idea was born out of heartbreak and sadness and loss and confusion, that's still part of my life. But now I'm also really excited, and I'm feeling positive and really happy again. And it's a really new thing for me. And I don't know if you've ever had like a big peak like that, that's felt you're just so excited about your work and kind of what that's been born out of.
Well, that's the thing, because I was just thinking that I'm currently in a state where I think one's coming. There's a big part of me that feels this is right, because I'm 25 now. It feels right now to be being independent and stuff like that, and sort of making my life as an adult now in Leeds. But like, I think the reason why I can feel something coming is because this has been so horrible. Like, it's felt so horrible to finish uni, and everyone's can pretty much relate. Because I mean, something I recognise, I went to uni for a year started in 2011. I went to Huddersfield Uni for a year, and I was not mature enough to be at uni.
Okay.
Like, I think I've always been a little bit immature for my age. Not like, I've been sensible, but like, I felt like I'm a few years behind, because that's why I felt fine coming to Welcome. Like, I felt the same age as everyone.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Not like we were different. Anyway,
of course.
So I went there, didn't look after myself at all.
Okay.
Like, that was a real struggle. I got in like weird complications with people, and that I look back on now and I'm like, that's so strange. It was like someone else stepped into my body.
That's
and
really
just was
interesting.
like I shaved like my hair off and stuff,
wow.
and dyed it like every colour. It was
And
not like that's a thing to show.
Were you more or less creative during that time? More.
That for me was like the worst period of my mental health.
And it's such a catch-22, because you're like, you want to be creative, but you also want to be happy. Would you say that was a good time in hindsight?
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like, it's taken me a while to sort of, like, I can easily talk about everything that I went through there now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I remember at the time thinking, I just lost my mind. It felt like it just gone. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Like, it absolutely was a breakdown, because I came back and I was living at home for like a couple of years, trying to find work and stuff. But the thing I did the most when I came back was actually sort out my health, because I was going back and forth to the doctors in the hospital, getting tests for a few things, and also just like, feeling better about my mental health and stuff. But it's just bizarre, because I feel like I've grown up now and I've sort of matured, and I look back then and it's like I'm fine. If anything, I'm like, now how do I get that level of creativity without getting breaking down again?
Have you ever been kind of, after going through that, in a situation where you're like, I know I've got through this before, but maybe not this time, and you're like I said, you're in the worst bit, and you can't believe that it's going to get better? Like, how do you cope with that, knowing that it will, but also still feeling the way you feel?
I guess because like you were saying, just because you've gone through stuff before, it's sort of, when you're feeling fine, it sort of makes sense. Your brain, in your head, you're like, yeah, if I get hit by something again, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll recover. I'd say it was like a couple of months ago that I got hit by a really, really bad wave with my mental health. And it's the first time that I've got that low that I was telling myself stuff like that I hated myself and that I didn't need to be on the planet and I had no purpose.
Yeah.
And like we were doing great in the band, and the thing that like sort of it hit home that I was going through a really weird patch was that it's great. We played Reading and Leeds.
Yeah, that was mad.
Yeah.
That was
Which
awesome.
is fantastic. But I think my anxiety building up to that, there must have been like a switch where I got really, really anxious, but also because I was having a bit of a tough one.
Yeah.
It built up, and then something switched in my brain, and instead of like having a breakdown, I went completely numb. I felt nothing. I felt no excitement.
Oh my god.
I felt no anxiety as well, which is great.
Yeah.
I felt like I was being clinical about everything. Like Andrew, who's in the band, like he was like over the moon. Like he was ecstatic. He was like, "Get on stage, we're doing this," which is great, which is normal. It was absolutely normal, and
Oh wow.
yeah, I remember thinking, he needs to calm down. I can't deal with this.
Oh
Like,
man.
and I was just
so
like,
interesting.
we're gonna get on, I'm gonna perform, and then we're gonna get off, and we're gonna go home. Because it's weird, because the boys even said, I think the boys were quite stressed at the time. They'll say, right, I can't wait to play because I'm gonna thrash out. Like they're like, I'm gonna get all of my anger out. Obviously, we've got all our individual moves on stage and stuff, and then theirs are just enhanced if they've had a bit of a bad one. I think I've realised, perhaps for me, it's not that I won't enjoy a gig, it's that if I do get quite anxious, my brain for some reason now doesn't let me get, that's the interesting point that I was going to say. I think I've realised my body and my brain perhaps doesn't let me get to the point that I got to when I was at Hoods. That's why I switch off. Instead of letting me break down, I think it just blocks out things.
Yeah.
And then that's why at the minute, I think that's why I said I'm coming to another creative outburst, because I've finally, I'd say only recently I've felt better from that blip. Like I'm only just coming out of it.
That's really interesting.
So I think that's why my creativity is now coming up, because I would have, if I reacted to the anxiety of the gig exactly the same as how I reacted when I was at Hoods, and I felt like I'd lost my mind and someone else taking control of me, I'd have been very creative all this time.
Yeah.
But I think because the block happened and my brain was and my body was like, right, let's not let her react this way. We're going to sort of switch off from feelings. That's why I haven't felt creative.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, and that's why I can feel something coming, because there's sort of something coming back to me now. Because I mean, we play our first headline gig at Brood.
That's so exciting.
It's great. And that. I felt the sort of switch before we were playing. I felt my body sort of go very clinical and like, right, I've got this job to do. Let's just do this job.
Yeah, okay.
And then I got on stage and people shouted as we got on stage.
I love it. It's
And
so
it changed
exciting.
again, and I was like, all right, I'm not even nervous. I am excited. As much as I feel like I get inspiration from, you know, being sad and something affecting me really badly. I think I'm suddenly learning to change that a little bit, and that's why, you know, I think the numbness comes from sort of maturity and me changing how I react when I have a bad period of mental health. And so it's kind of, I would say it's kind of getting harder with my creativity, because it's more of a, it doesn't come to me as naturally anymore. Like when I was younger, it felt like it just flowed and stuff happened.
See, I think I've gone the other way around, because I'd go through periods like in first and second year where I would be like, oh, I'll write a song when it comes to me, and I'd, you know, I'll know when I need to write. And now I kind of sit down and go, I'm gonna have a go at writing now. I don't know if it'll come to me, but I kind of create an environment where I can be creative a lot more. For the first time, I'm feeling creative and feeling like I'm moving upwards with my general health and well-being, and things kind of do always mend and heal. And so you go through the period where it's like, it's really, there's turmoil and it's really rocky and there's not much stability, and then you've got big creative maybe burst there, and then you've grown a bit and then you have a good period and then inevitably it will happen again, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to be really, really creative again, and then you grow a bit more and then you kind of have the period where it's good, because it's okay to not be 100% creative 100% of the time. And I think that's, we kind of, the bits in between the good bits are where we do the growing and the writing and the making, and then the bits where it's good is where we can appreciate that.
Yeah. At no point, like when I said I've had numbness and stuff and I've had bad times, that doesn't mean I'm not enjoying having a life in music. It's just, I think, as you grow older and grow as a person, things change.
I think that's a nice place to round up.
Yeah.
Thank you for chatting to me.
It's okay.
Thank you so much.